Sportin Wales podcast.
Supported by DragonBet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.
Hello and welcome to the Sportin Wales podcast, sponsored by DragonBet and co-founded by Alex Cuthbert and Gareth Anscombe. I'm Geraint Hardy and I'm here to keep the guests in check as we look forward to the Sportin Wales week. Please remember to click follow and thanks for listening to this podcast. And in the studio this week, we've got two brothers who have both played rugby for Wales, Cory and Mason Grady. A big welcome to you both. The first time we've had brothers on the pod. So will we brothers that get along or do we fall out? What kind of relationship have you got, Cory?
No, I think we're pretty good. We got a middle brother who's always the troublemaker both ways. So if we had three of us falling out, I think my mum would have gone mad. But now we've always been pretty close. It's very similar interests in everything we do, so it was easy, really.
Yeah, so it's a good thing that your middle brother, who's bigger than both of you, is in here, yeah?
Yeah. He's always a troublemaker.
Check him into the best. So what's the age gap, mate?
Cory's 9 years older than me, yeah. So he's always been the bigger older brother.
Yeah.
And then Ashton's 8 years older than me.
Yeah. So there must be, like with brothers, you know, I've got brothers and stepbrothers as well. There's always a go-to story to chuck them each other under a bus. What's your memories of growing up with each other? Is there something that you used to do, Cory, used to know you, or vice versa?
No, see, I've asked, since he's been playing, like every time he has something new, like his first cap for Cardiff, then his first cap for Wales and stuff, boys always ask me, can you send us a story or send me some videos of him? And I've got nothing. I'm not looking after him, you know. I've got nothing to tuck him up with. And I've been texting my mum and going through old videos trying to find something, but
just a pretty boring kid, wasn't I?
he's just
Were you a good boy then, Mason, growing up then?
Yeah.
Well behaved?
Right. Yeah, well behaved. Just come home, watch a bit of cartoons and go to bed.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Cory's got nothing on you. Have you got anything on Cory? Or any first memories of kind of him bringing the girlfriends home for the first time?
No,
or kind of
never
Nope.
Never did that. Never.
He jumped in first, didn't he?
I'll leave it there.
No, but what were you like as brothers then? Because 9 years between you, I'd imagine, extremely sporty family. Is that all you did, was kind of play rugby, play football, play sports in the house and stuff?
Yeah, it was either that or the PlayStation.
Okay.
There was nothing else. If it was nice outside, we've got a big basketball net and stuff out the back, or we'd be playing football or tennis or wherever it was, or rugby. Any bad weather, then we'd just be inside playing the PlayStation. That was pretty much our childhood.
Yeah.
We lived out the way a bit because we went to school in Barry, but we lived in Roos Point, so we're quite out the way. So whenever we went out, it was just us really, us and our cousins who lived just around the corner. So that was all we did. It was either PlayStation or out in the fields playing some sport.
Yeah, what games were they on the PlayStation? I mean, I'm a Joe Nolamo rugby kind of generation.
That'd be way before his time.
Yeah. But did you ever play that?
Yeah, that was one of the first. But we were FIFA and Call of Duty really growing up.
There's never been a rugby game since John Nolamo, though, is it? Properly,
they tried. There's nothing that's really... We've bought everyone and give it a go, but nothing comes close to that.
So surely you were falling out over FIFA, though. It's got to be.
Again, it wasn't us. It was
really?
He's the aggressive one. Yeah, we never fall out. We have a game and it is what it is. Yeah, he was always the...
He'd be throwing controllers, wouldn't he?
Yeah, throwing controllers at us. Turning the PlayStation off and storming out. No, that was him.
Good fun. But like growing up with a brother 9 years older, obviously you could see the pathway he was on with rugby, kind of especially when you got to 5, you could have seen the stuff Cory was starting to do and stuff. Would that make it a bit easier for you, Mason, to kind of maybe decide kind of what route you wanted to go down?
Yeah, I pretty much just followed him around, watching him play rugby. So I always knew I wanted to be a rugby player. There's no doubt in my mind. That was just what I wanted to do. But yeah, growing up, I always tried to be competitive with him, but couldn't quite.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite get him.
Well, 9's quite a big age gap, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So would you go easy on him in the back garden or whatever you were playing?
Nah.
No? Yeah. Nah. But that's good, though, right? Because therefore he should be thanking you. Do you know what I mean? You've got him used to the physicality. Yeah.
might let him... it was 9-0, I might let him score 1 before I finish the game off, but no more than that.
So as clubs growing up then, your path was slightly different in terms of teams. So who did you used to play for?
I was Wanderers up until year 7, then went to Dinas Powys till youth, then went back to Wanderers for youth rugby.
And Mace, where were you?
I started at Barry, but they folded.
Okay.
So I ended up going to Penarth, about under 12s, and then stayed there then until Cardiff.
Yeah, good memories of youth rugby?
I didn't play youth rugby.
No? As in, no? So it was literally straight to Cardiff. That was it. Yeah.
Played like up until under 15s and then
Fast tracked over.
well,
Yeah, to a certain degree. What about yourself, Cor?
Youth rugby, I loved youth rugby. It's one thing I was really glad I got to do. We had a good team. We won the Welsh Cup both years. Just a good group of boys, and it was just like I never drunk or anything like that growing up. So that was my first little intro into what rugby socials were all about before I ended up playing for Cardiff. But it changed not long after that, where not many boys then get to play youth rugby because they did more schools when he was coming up in college rugby and stuff. But I was really glad I got to do youth rugby. Is some of my favourite memories.
Yeah. So when you were playing them days, did you notice the change kind of even then, that kind of things were changing in terms of pathway and how players would kind of get into the system?
No, not really. I don't think colleges come till a bit after. I was late into like the academies and stuff. I was always with Cardiff Blues, 16 South and then 18s, but I didn't get put into the academy until my very last year. I was only in. It was the same with Reece Patchell. We both got put in like halfway through the 18 season, which was like February or March, and then we had a contract with the seniors then in June. So it was we didn't get to really experience that academy stuff. But there was only a handful of boys in there when we were growing up, and you'd have like you'd have your under 18s on one weekend, then the youth the next weekend, and vice versa. But yeah, then a couple of years later, 4 or 5 years later, as he was coming up, all this college rugby started, and youth rugby sort of. I don't think many regional players play youth rugby anymore.
Yeah. So obviously Cardiff then, you've been with some of the boys that are playing with you now for quite a few seasons together, yeah? So who are the boys you've always kind of been playing with?
So likes of Theo Cabango, Evan Lloyd, even Chris Junza used to play under 16s. I've always played with Evan Lloyd since Penarth, so it's been nice growing up with them, and now we're all playing together for Cardiff.
Yeah, do you discuss that as a group, like how kind of cool that is that you've done that together, or do you kind of just crack on every day to day?
Yeah, we sort of just crack on. We don't really
don't
probably
talk.
take it for granted, to be fair, but
Yeah. And out of them, when you were younger, did you all kind of know that you could do it? Was there a sense of belief that you were all at the same level, or was there some people kind of who were kind of at the start, like, oh, they're the main guy, we got to go after them? Or maybe it was you, I don't know, you tell me.
No, I think there's always a few boys in under 16s who are just unreal, really. Evan Lloyd was probably one of them. He was a beast. He's the same size he was now.
Yeah.
So, I think everyone's pretty grounded, the boys who have come up, so no one expected to make it.
Yeah. But it's great now that you've obviously all had your first experience, in Cardiff together, and some of you gone on obviously to play for Wales and stuff. When you play for Cardiff, that make you tighter, do you reckon? I'd say it would, but maybe you feel that you kind of know each other too well at times.
What is in tighter in Wales?
No, on for Cardiff rugby.
Oh yeah, definitely. Everyone's actually pretty close. Everyone's a good group of mates. So, and we're all pretty young. So yeah, it's been good. It's been really enjoyable.
Yeah. And this week you kind of been in camp, but not official camp for Wales. Yeah, you still training, keeping yourself taken over.
So we had a week off last week, and then at the start of this week, it's just optional conditioning stuff. Just keep yourself topped up, and then the camp starts Thursday.
Okay, so optional conditioning. What is that? What are you actually doing? If you talk us through like your day to day, what have you done this morning?
It's pretty chilled out. So you just go in, do some weights, and then just down on the pitch doing some mass runs, some watts, and then just some condition games. So yeah, it's pretty low key. So
are you, to give us an insight into that then, are you there on your own, or is it the Welsh coaching staff? Are they there? Is there kind of some guys there? Or
no,
not?
the Welsh coaching staff are there, and then it's just whoever fancied coming in. Some boys have played a lot more than others, so they might have those days off, and then some boys want to come in.
Yeah.
Just do some conditioning.
The word optional is interesting, isn't it, Cor? Does that mean, does it play against them if they don't go, or is it just kind of who needs it the most? If the facility's there if you want it?
Oh, it's always a tricky one. Like no one ever knows what optional really means. I think some of the senior boys, being in and around the camp a long time, might take them off. But when you're young, you've only done a few camps, you just see it as a test. It's like, if I don't go now, they'll be like, well, he doesn't want it. So most boys turn up and do it, unless you're carrying a knock, or like I'm sure the Ospreys boys playing an extra week, they wouldn't be in. But the rest of them, it's always hard not to turn up to an optional session.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the one guy who doesn't turn up.
So did you know the optional session was going to be scheduled? Because obviously you want a bit of downtime as well. I know you've been on holiday and stuff. So did you know that was coming, or was this thrown in as a bomb to you guys?
Nah, to be fair, as soon as the squad was announced, they said you can have these 2 weeks off, or there are scheduled conditioning sessions you can come in if you want to.
Yeah. And you've been taking them up, yeah?
I had a week off, and then I've been going in this week. Yeah.
That's good. So obviously, some people listening won't know, but Cory, you're actually Mason's agent, right? So
Recently, yes.
Yeah. So what are you saying to Mason? Do you let him make that decision himself? How does the dynamics work on that?
Nah, it's completely his decision. Rugby stuff like that. If he asks me what to do, I could give him advice. Like it is really important to take a week off. You have to have at least a week. It's been such a long season for him going. Well, I don't know how many months in a row now they've been playing rugby. There's not been much break, and to try and go into another cycle now of international rugby, it's another step up physically and the intensity and stuff. So I just think that you're just asking for trouble going in straight away. So that taking at least a week off, and then maybe 1 or 2 sessions this week. But obviously you don't want to tail off too much. You want to make sure you're at a good level coming in. But yeah, I'd definitely take at least a week.
Yeah. For me, a week doesn't sound like enough, if I'm honest. Gatland would probably shout at me for that. Do you know what I mean? But like, it's not a lot of time. It's only 7 days. Do you know what I mean? So like the training is obviously lighter and stuff. But I'm interested on the agent stuff. So this is a new kind of role for you. You started kind of December. So talk us more about that if you can, and what the process you've been through.
From December till now?
Yeah.
There's agents, it's all licensed, so there's agents exams and bits and bobs you have to go through. So that took me from December till March, I think it was, like on my license. So there's an exam, there's obviously a lot of forms you've got to fill in, there's background checks you've got to do because you can work with kids from 16 up.
Yeah.
And then there's an interview then at the end with the Welsh Rugby Union is the last stage. And then once all that's passed, then you cracking on.
So your job will be an actual agent as well, but with kind of player experience, that kind of puts you in a really strong position, I'd say, because you can relate to what all your clients are going through.
Yeah, it's one I got to sort of figure out because, like I said, it is new to me. There's some boys that I was very fortunate when I played that my best friends are all rugby players. So any rugby related issues I had people to speak to. Not a lot of boys are comfortable doing that, and almost every player doesn't want to speak to their parents about issues like that because they just don't feel like they get an honest response. So that is something that a lot of players would look somewhere for. And I've been at the highest of highs, straight to the lowest of lows. Like playing in the first game of the World Cup, tearing my hamstring at half time. Like I've done that constantly throughout my career. So most things I've experienced. So if I do feel like you said that's something that I can offer. In terms of just another voice away from anyone if boys need any advice. But not all players want that. Some players I know, they literally just want their agent to tell them what clubs are interested, at what figures, when their contract's up, and that's all. Some boys are like in between the both. But it's just sort of figuring out different types of players and what they need, and then just making sure you're there for them when and if they do need it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that injury in particular. How did you kind of find it within yourself to bounce back from setbacks that you had?
It is a funny. You never think about it. You're down for like a day, and then you're onto your surgery. You have a week off, just eating whatever you want, and then you're back into your rehab. It's like it's obviously tough, but it didn't ever really register to me that, oh my God, this is another tough one, until the last one. There was like 4 on the bounce with my knee.
Yeah.
Tore my pec in between. So between surgery 2 and 3, I tore my pec. And that one for me then was like, right, this is too frequent now. That like, what am I coming back for? If I come back, I want to play for Wales. If I can't, do I want to put my body through it? Because I was at a point where it's not if I get injured again, it was just going to be when. And I struggled a lot with my knee walking. I couldn't walk properly for a year. I was on crutches for 9 months. And when I finally come back to being able to just walk pain-free, then making the decision, right, do I go and play rugby again? Or do I just like sort of count my lucky stars that, look, you've had a lot of injuries, you've come away now and you can walk pain-free. Running was still painful. But that was, in the end, I tried to come back just to see, but my knee just wouldn't hold up. It was just too painful. But that's the one time I was like, right, like if I come back now, I know I'm going to get injured again, and like if that's worse, or if I blow my knee out again, then I can't walk for the rest of my life. You just have to start weighing up, is that worth it? But I had 11 surgeries, I think, playing rugby, but it wasn't until the last one that ever cropped into my mind. It was always you knew you were going to come back, you knew you were going to play again. So you have a low, like, where you're a bit gutted that you're injured again, but it was never, for me, I say a day, maybe a week, but as soon as the surgery's done, you're back on the.
But that last one, you were with the Dragons at that point. You didn't play for the Dragons.
I got injured at Ospreys.
Yeah, but then you moved.
And then
right?
I moved to the Dragons after a year of being in. After a year of being injured, yeah, and then I was there until the end. Then. Yeah.
So that new chapter, you were that move. Was there a different rehab approach because you'd moved to Dragons? Or
I'll be honest. Ben Sterling was the physio. He was outstanding for me. He just very knowledgeable. Was always there. We just got on well, and he got me to a place that I might not have been able to get to if I hadn't have gone to the Dragons. I certainly wouldn't be able to get there if I just retired at the Ospreys and tried to do it myself. So I was really grateful for him and also the Dragons because they took a chance. Like, they signed me injured. There was loads of clauses in my contract where they could have got rid of me at any point, but they were adamant that they wanted to see me sort of have the best chance I can to come back. And they give me basically until I decided, like, I can't come back, which was amazing for me because it probably would have just, if someone had made the call for me earlier and not knowing, maybe you sit there a bit frustrated thinking I can still do this, but they let me get to the point where it's like, I can't go anymore now.
Yeah, and it was your decision then, yeah?
Yeah, along with the surgeon. The surgeon's advice was, look, like, you can try and play, but if you keep on now, like, you'll need a full knee replacement in your 30s. They only last 20 years. You'll need another in your 50s. You're probably going to live till over your 80s at least, so you'll need another one. It's like you're running the risk there. But so it was my decision in the end. But I can't say how grateful I am to the Dragons that they give me that time just to make sure and every opportunity I had.
So who are you talking to in that period? Obviously your wife, I think you're married, or your girlfriend?
I'm not married. I've been with my girlfriend 10 years.
Yeah. So you're talking to her and family and stuff. But like, were people in the clubs or agents coming and helping you in that period as well?
Again, like I said earlier, my best friends are all rugby players, and two of my best friends are Ellis Jenkins and Geraint Hardy. So Ellis did his first. I was the middle. When Ellis did his knee.
Yeah.
Then Gareth did his knee. Then I did my knee. And between us, we had like 12 surgeries. So it was like I did mine a month after Gareth, so he was always a little bit further along than me. But we had setbacks almost identical times the whole time. So I was never on my own. I was at the Ospreys with Gareth when we both done it, so we had a year of rehabbing together. Ellis had already been in it a year by then. And none of them went smoothly. So anything that already happened that was happening to me had already happened to one or two of them. And that helped massively. It's a weird thing to say, but I was very fortunate that they'd gone through it.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't unexpected, and I think unexpected was happening because it already happened to them. Obviously, see boys come back quickly. I say quickly, 9 months. Like Mace did his, he's back in 9 months to a year. Everything went well. But I was just lucky that I had that. Because if those two weren't my mates, or that it hadn't happened to those two, it would have felt very lonely for 3.5 years or whatever, trying to come back on your own. Because physios come and go as well, so you have to restart with new physios.
Yeah.
Obviously, I moved clubs, it's another restart, and trying to explain it all again. It would have been a lot more difficult, I imagine, but it was all right. There was obviously downs where the main down was I couldn't walk. Like I remember walking with my girlfriend from one lamppost. I had 2 crutches. I'd hand her the 2 crutches, and I'd walk to the next lamppost, and I was in agony. Yeah. And then she'd give them back, and then I'd walk and trying to relearn to walk again. Like, those days were tough because you always wonder, can I? I'm not crying.
No, have a drink. He's going to rip you for this now.
This isn't tears. This is just tickly throat. Yeah, so I was always wondering if you're going to walk again. That was tough, but like I said, I had the 2 boys who went through it all anyway, so it was fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing the fans don't see, isn't it? We know, we see a player get injured like you did, and I've watched your whole career pretty much, and you kind of don't see the rehab. No one sees the rehab.
No.
And I always think, God, it must be a lonely place. So it's great to know that you had kind of 2 really close friends there with you. How did you find your rehab? Because young as well.
Yeah, mine just went pretty smooth. Probably came at a perfect time as well. I managed, so I done it when I was 18, and I managed to put on like 12 kilos of muscle by the time I got back. So I was ready to go as soon as I got back physically.
Yeah. So you felt strong, yeah?
Yeah, I was yeah, I was pretty fortunate. I didn't have any problems at all. I come back fitter, better, stronger. So
And did you speak to Cory a bit in that period and kind of lean on him a bit, or did you kind of feel that you were okay with it in your own headspace?
no, he definitely gave me some tips along the way. I think we were injured at the same time as well, weren't we? So
Yeah,
I was sort of just asking him for advice.
So your family Christmas, both of you, legs up kind of thing. Do you know?
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it?
yeah.
It was. We're both in. I think we're both in knee braces. But yeah, his went pretty well from start to finish. There was like one little hiccup, I think, where there's a stitch that was still in his knee or something. It was irritable. But like again, when he was like, he'd done a bit of rehab, and his knee would be sore. Like he'd pick up the phone and be like, "Did this happen to you?" Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, it's all normal." I didn't know then that I wasn't going to come back, so I was like, "Yeah, it's all normal. Don't worry."
Yeah. So you're back, you're fit, you've had a good season. When you look back at the season now, Mace, what's your kind of... Did you achieve what you wanted to out of this calendar season from an individual point of view?
Yeah, individually, I think I've improved massively thanks to the game time and just working with different coaches and different players. I think I've definitely improved this year. Probably not nowhere near the level I want to get to, but yeah, it's nice to know I've improved. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like when you stepped into the Wales camp for the first time? Like, how different is it to like a club setup?
Oh, the first time was,
Did it blow you away?
Yeah, it did. I was probably a bit too nervous to eat, too nervous to even say anything. Yeah, luckily a lot of the boys from Cardiff were there, so sort of lean on them. But yeah, it's a really weird feeling going in for the first time.
Did you travel alone to the first one?
Yeah, I didn't have a clue what to do.
Yeah.
I remember standing in the car park thinking, what am I doing?
What door? Which way in? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like having that moment when you start training, then I suppose you've relaxed then because you're back in kind of your own territory. You're on the pitch training. You feel a bit more relaxed potentially.
Once you get that first cap out of the way, sort of you are way more relaxed and think, oh, I do belong here, and you do start enjoying it then.
Yeah, and Principality Stadium, kind of, do you enjoy that on match day, or kind of give us an insight into what it's like kind of coming on the bus and kind of people obviously talking about you a lot this season as well. How much does that factor into the match day for you?
To be fair, I don't remember like the actual match days. All I remember is going in on the bus, seeing Westgate Street full, people banging on the bus, and then everything just goes so quickly. You don't even think about anything else.
Yeah, so it goes in a blink match day.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and then after, obviously, you get with your friends and family. Obviously, the players obviously you can meet your families inside of the pitch and stuff. Is that when kind of you would let emotion out and kind of start to analyse, God, what's happened today?
I'm pretty chill, that guy. I'd say.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
can tell.
emotional at all. So yeah, just see the family on the side of the pitch, say hello,
Yeah.
and then back to the changing room.
Good. I love it. That's good though, right? That's a good way to be, not to be too kind of intense with everything going on, do you reckon?
Yeah, it's hard as well because it's such a special occasion. But when you're on there, it's a game of rugby, and you've got a job to do. And then when you finish, it's like that if you played well, you're happy. If you haven't played well, you're just annoyed. It doesn't matter that you've just got your first cap. Your friends and family will tell you, look, your first cap, you've got out the way, well done. But to you, it's a game of rugby that did or didn't go how you wanted it to go. So that's all that's in your head. It's really hard to sort of appreciate the whole day. Like I was exactly the same as him. When he had his first cap, I got to appreciate his first cap, and I never wait outside, but I wait outside for the bus to come in. I got to see him come in, then I get to like really enjoy the whole day. But I know as being there, like as a player, you don't. All that gets blocked out.
So in a way, you probably enjoyed Mason's first cap more than yourself.
I loved his first day. Yeah, my day's the same. I exactly the same. I remember turning down Westgate Street, and that's when it's like. Like that, I had a tear in my eye because that's when it's like, oh my God, like this means so much to so many people, and everyone down there. But as soon as you get into the change rooms, you're just in the change rooms. You're going through your match day routine. You go out. The crowd's not that full when you're doing your warm up.
No.
Yeah. And because it's such a big stadium, even though there's probably 30,000, it's not that overwhelming. Obviously, when you then come out, that's just the nerves that you get walking out. But as soon as the whistle goes, everything just goes. Everything's shut out, and you're just playing a game of rugby. It's
I suppose the best, and correct me, you guys who know, the best bit is like the glimpse of the real life from that day. Do you know what I mean? What actually is happening in the real world. Then you get back you come underneath the stadium, you go into the tunnel and there's changing rooms, and you're back in your bubble. And then, but when you must come out for like, not the warm up, because like you said, it is pretty empty at that point, right? But when you come out with the flames going and the stadium's full, it's such an incredible amount of noise. That's got to be overwhelming, even for you, Mace, even if you are pretty relaxed.
Yeah, a little bit. It's nice when you're singing the anthem and you can see your family as well.
Yeah, but that would make me cry straight away.
That's what set me off, my first cap. I was fine, and I was sponsored by Under Armour at the time, and Under Armour had the main box, and I knew my parents were in there. And I was just singing the anthem, and then I just looked up, and I could see my mum and dad crying, and I was just like, oh,
don't look.
Yeah, and I had a couple of tears come then. But that is special. The anthem, there's nowhere like it in the world.
Yeah.
Like just how loud it is, especially when the roof is shut. But it actually, in the game, when there's a line break or something, you break into the 22 and everyone gets up off their seat. We could be this close and I can't hear what you're saying, and I'm screaming for the ball or screaming a move or call or wherever. And like, I know you can't hear me because when you look at me, I can't hear you. That's like, in the game, that's the one time that I got taken out of the game and be like, oh my God, this is
the
loud.
noise. Yeah.
Is when there's a line break or someone breaks into the 22 and you just hear all the seats go.
Yeah.
And everyone's screaming. But like, people don't realise I can't talk to you this close. Like, you're trying to scream, but you just can't hear anything.
Yeah, nothing at all. So the anthem for you, when you spotted your family, did you have to kind of recheck yourself and go focus again, or did you allow yourself to enjoy that moment a bit?
No, I did enjoy that moment, to be fair. And then as soon as I was done, I was mind on the game, straight into it.
Yeah.
But it was a bit of my first cap was really weird because obviously, if you remember, the England were going to strike the game.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know whether I was playing or not a day before the game. So as soon as I knew I was playing, it just went so quick.
What was that week like for you then? Because obviously you would have wanted to play because it's your first cap potentially.
Yeah.
But then there's a bigger picture there going on, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we only trained. We had one proper session before the game. So I was really sketching the fact that I'm going to have my first cap and I've trained once this week. But yeah, there was about 20 different meetings, players only. Are we going to strike? We had a voting station. So yeah, it was really weird.
That's the time where like, do agents get involved in that to find out what's going on or not? Because there's a huge ramifications on that decision, obviously. There's cost for the union, obviously, as well, if the game didn't go ahead. But also, player power it is a thing in sport. But agents obviously need to protect their players. So how involved in an agency? I know you were an agent at the time, but how involved an agent would have been with them talks?
I assume that the agents were involved. Having played and just played, like I was 100% behind. The boys know what they're doing and why they're doing it. So I would have just been
back that decision.
100%.
Yeah, they know what's
going
going
on. They're not doing it for
no reason. Yeah.
I know stuff gets said in the media or whatever, but there's a reason they're doing it. And it almost happened a couple of times when I was playing. So if you imagine, I played 10 years or 9 years before Mace, and if they were talking about doing it then, but nothing really changed. Like it was long overdue. That like boys sort of felt like it probably.
Because the England team didn't they? Did they strike? I'm sure that Greenwood was talking about it. Or they managed to double their money. I think they were on like £250 a game, and they
doubled it to 25 grand a game, did they?
No. at the time, do you know what I mean? They got 500, and then there was win bonuses and stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't really about the pay. It was just about like a similar sort of thing this year. It was the budget this year, where boys are waiting to find out, and it's not the Welsh squad was the one striking, but those boys are the ones that can probably afford to not be in contract for a couple of months. They've earned a lot of money, so they're striking for the boys who've been on nowhere near as much money. They've got mortgages to pay. They've got young families, and they're not they don't know what they're doing next year, and it's not like they can just move because all the other clubs are in the same boat. So it's like you got to then take a gamble to leave the country, and upstick your family and stuff. So the strike was more for those guys. But like as an agent, it was obviously tough being his first cap, but I said, look, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There'll be plenty more opportunities.
Yeah.
Like it's about more than this game. But it would have been I think it would be very tough for an agent because there would have been boys who were really sketchy and really wanted to play and trying to speak to them and sort of, obviously you understand their side, you understand the other side, trying to find a middle ground and trying to make sure everyone's happy and everyone understands why. That's the most important thing, as long as you understand why it's happening. But I imagine it was very tricky at the time.
Yeah, lots of phone calls going on, that's for sure. Did you get, like, as a younger group player in that group, did they ask your opinion, or were they kind of just, did you get everyone get to say their say in that meeting?
I didn't know near enough about what was really going on, to be honest. So I sort of just let the older boys speak up for us. Yeah, they probably knew a lot more than I would have known.
I can imagine that's the case, but yeah. Well, thankfully, things have kind of moved on from that now, and the strike is not on the cards at the moment. Let's talk about the rugby that's coming for you, Mace. Obviously, we touched on the training. You're going into camp for real. When is that happening?
This Thursday.
This Thursday. Okay, cool. And then obviously there's a match in Twickenham against South Africa, then the Australia tour. What's your goals for that? I know Gats will set. Will he set individual goals for you, or will it just be team goals that he'll set within camp?
Obviously, our main goal is just to win, but on an individual level, I do really just want to cement a starting spot in the Welsh squad. And just that'll be great for me.
You know what my next question is, don't you?
Yeah, centre or wing.
Centre or wing, yeah. What's your preference? Have you got a preference?
I honestly don't have a preference.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to think, they're putting me out on the wing because I can't play 13. But I realise it's just another opportunity, a different way for me to get into the game. Probably have a bit more free roam on the wing, so you get the ball in positions where you got a lot of space. So I honestly don't mind either one.
Yeah, Cool. Have you got a preference in kind of watching him play? Do you enjoy him watching him more on the wing or the centre, or again, you just think he's got qualities in both places?
Yes, it's wherever he gets his hands on the ball the most, and you just assume it's 13, but a lot of the game plans 13 is really hard to get the 13's hands on the ball because it's usually 2 or 3 passes to get it there. Defenses are so quick that when they do get it, you just stood still. Whereas a winger, they could just go one pass. Long term, I think 13, but as long as he's playing and on the pitch and getting that experience and learning, like I'm happy. It's like a lot of teams, it's just a number on your back for where you stand on first phase. After that, like you've got license, like you don't, because you're a winger, you don't have to stand on your wing the whole time. If you haven't touched the ball or you feel you can offer something, you can move in. And same as if you just had a ruck and you're like first up, you don't have to go all the way. Or if you're last up, you don't have to go all the way. You just fit into where and then you're just into your play. So it is just a number on the back sometimes. Yeah. People do get caught up on 13 or wing, and as long as you're on the pitch and having an impact and learning, that's the most important thing. Yeah,
I think that's so true. For me, watching as a fan, it's like whenever Mason plays, we just want him to be busy and on the ball. Do you know what I mean? So is that something that would be dictated from the coaching side? They'd allow that to happen, or is that up to Mason to go and find that himself?
It depends on the structure of what you're playing. Like if you really want hold width and you're telling your wingers to hold width and then he goes rogue, it's like obviously I imagine they're not happy. But I know from speaking to Jockey at Cardiff a lot, they're the same. They just whenever you can get your hands on the ball, like the more touches you have, the more likely something's going to happen. So it's just if you haven't touched the ball and you want to just have a snipe off 9, or if you want to pick and go, or if you want to push the centres out and you step in and have the ball at the back, like you're allowed to do that. Yeah.
Do you like people talking about you? Do you know what I mean?
I just sit back and listen.
Because people have really talked about you a lot this year in this conversation. I don't know how much of you've listened to or read about, or I don't know if you're on Twitter or whatever, X, whatever it's called now. Do you read stuff about yourself? Do you listen to people commenting about yourself?
It's quite hard not to,
yeah.
Especially on Twitter now. It's literally, I go on it, it's just rugby.
You're at it in it, right, as well? Yeah.
So, I see it. I don't really care, to be honest. It doesn't bother me what people think. It's nice to know people are talking about me, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. You're making some noise. Do you know what I mean? Have you got a favourite try of this season, or a try that you kind of for you? It doesn't have to be this season, but you just kind of that meant something to you because of what it was and where it propelled you to.
Yeah, probably my first try for Wales, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't win, it was just first try for Wales. Just don't get better than that.
Yeah, no. So have you watched it back? Did you?
A couple of times.
Yeah. You've got it saved as a link on your emails, so you can get quick access to it. No, but like that first try, then talk to us about it. How did you feel in the moment? You probably can't remember, but after, we probably reflected on it after. Yeah.
I just remember scoring it and thinking, what the hell is going on? I just punched the ball.
Yeah.
We were losing. I don't know why I celebrated.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
And where were you? You were there watching?
Yeah, I was in the stands. So I was with his dad, and so we were on the second tier. And there's two ways to see the boys after. You either wait for them to all have a shower, have their food, and they come in the family, and you can be there a long time. Or if you get down by the pitch, the boys all come over. There's like a minute left, and he's like, right, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down quick so I can get a good spot. And literally, he's walked up the stairs out into the hall, and then he's gone the length and scored. And he missed it.
Oh no!
But I stayed. I watched it. It was
Yeah.
I was the same as him. I know they lost the game and whatever, but for that like little split second, I've just seen him score his first try. So I was the same. I never celebrate. I'm always quite relaxed with it. But I just jumped in the air like
Yeah.
And then you realise, oh no, we just lost.
Yeah, but it's such a special moment, isn't it? Regardless, you know. He's off on tour. Any tips and advice for tour life?
I only toured with Wales. I toured twice with Wales. This is, even though it was like 7-8 years ago, it's a lot changed. Social media and everything. I don't know what they're like now. But I loved my tour. I toured South Africa, my first one, and you always, as a first one, you're always just sitting back quite quiet, trying to figure things out.
Yeah. Remind us who the leaders in camp on that one then.
Oh, we had like Mike Phillips, Dan Bigger, Alan Wynne, Gethin Jenkins, Adam Jones. Like we had like Jamie Roberts, John Davis.
Yeah.
There was a very senior team when I was there. It was basically just a list of everyone, and then I was there at the bottom.
No, don't be silly.
Whatever they said went. We had a midweek game against the Southern Kings, which we won, and then other than that, we were just helping the boys and having a couple of beers whenever we could. Then
Yeah. So there's that mix on tour. It's not all about the rugby. It is about kind of building that brotherhood together as well.
yeah, I think it's really important. It's probably it's a strange one in terms of when things are going really bad, or if you need to pick me up. Like for some reason in rugby, there's nothing like getting everyone in a room and having a few drinks. Like just the morale and stuff that picks up from that, and everyone just gets to know each other a little bit better, and you just always seem to be able to kick on from there. Again, it's been such a long year for these boys. Obviously, the rugby is important, but it is also important that there's such a young, as for Wales now, it's such a young group that are hopefully going to build going forward. It's really important that they bond together. Like we've trained with Cardiff City back when I was training at the Vale, and it's one thing you notice is so different to rugby and football is how close the boys are in rugby compared to football. Like
Really?
they don't
Okay.
really spend much time with each other. You might have one or two friends, whereas in rugby it's like they are your best friends. You're with them all the time, and it's important just to get as close as you can. And for whatever reason in rugby, there's nothing like a few beers that does that. Obviously, you can't be doing it the night before a game. Or
No. But
there's you pick and choose your moments. But tours are always brilliant for it because you're all away together for the whole time. Again, some of your favourite memories come from tours. I only got to do 2, and it's one thing that I don't regret because I didn't choose not to go.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to have done a few more tours. Australia would be one. I've heard it's a brilliant place to tour. Just excited, really. Just look forward to it. Just enjoy it, and just hopefully have a good time and win a couple of games.
yeah. Do you still have a kangaroo court? I know it might have changed in terms of kind of what you guys were doing in it, but does it still exist within the camp?
Yeah, usually at the end of the tournament, probably. Yeah, and then you have a few. So travelling reserves usually go out and have a meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nice to get out, let your hair down, and not think about rugby for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just have a few.
And see some. Do you want to see bits of Australia? Have you been there before and stuff?
No, I've never been. I'm really excited. Yeah. So hopefully we get a bit of downtime.
So do you know if you've got downtime yet or not, or have they given you a schedule? Or
No, there's been no schedule yet.
They'll organise.
There will be, definitely.
Yeah. So some surfing. Is that on the cards?
Oh, no, not for me.
No?
Maybe some paddleboarding. But
Paddleboarding.
it's not for me, surfing. I'm too long.
Why? Because of the knee or because you're too tall or what?
I'd be rubbish.
Yeah. There you go. So on the pitch, though, that's the aim for you. Cement your first place in Wales, be it centre or wing, you don't mind, and kind of just get on the ball, yeah?
Yeah, and just get a few wins would be nice. I think it changes the dynamic of the group as well. When you start winning, everything's fine, isn't it? So.
Yeah. And who's your roomie? Do you get to choose your roommate?
In the World Cup, it was Rio Dyer.
Okay.
He just stays in his room, closes the curtains, and goes on TikTok. And then Evan Lloyd was my roomie in the Six Nations.
Okay. So, but you don't know who you're going to get yet?
It'll probably be Evan Lloyd.
Will it? Yeah. So you get to pick those, I suppose, or do they tell you who you're going to be with?
No, you can pick if you want to.
Okay. And who was your roommate, Cory, if you had to pick? Because you said you were close with Gareth and also Ellis.
Yeah, I think Lloyd's another one I was close with. I roomed with Lloyd a couple of times, World Cup and stuff. I roomed with Samson once. That was good fun.
Yeah.
He's like 6 o'clock, TV off, lights off, curtain shut. I was like, oh, looks like we go to bed then.
You're joking, seriously?
Yeah, but he was up then at like 5 a.m. having a bath or something. So you're like, I'm on a new clock now then.
Yeah, you do find out on tours like how random some people are, don't you? Like, and their toilet habits as well. Who closes the door, who leaves the door open, and all that business.
I did room with Aaron Shingler as well, and I don't know if you ever met him, but what a funny bloke. That was a really good. I enjoyed being in a room with him. We when we were in Samoa, we all had food poisoning.
Right. So
like me and him were the first two to get it. And I run to the toilet. I'm on the toilet, and you can hear him jump out of bed, run over, and he's like, "Pal, how long?" He's like, he just goes, "I got a couple of issues out here, pal." I just remember being on the toilet laughing, but just feeling such pain. But he was such a good roommate to have. Fair play to him.
He's got a special place in your heart, having food poisoning together in a room.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then the whole squad had it. Then I remember we played Samoa that last game. 90% of the squad had it. We hadn't eaten for like 2 or 3 days. And I was playing on the wing, and Gareth was 15. And before the game, I was like, I haven't got the energy to speak to you today. Just trust me, I'll be there. I can't do both. But some of the boys that game were just absolutely, like, that was one, just absolutely everyone dug in that game.
Yeah.
That was a tough game out there, just because everyone had no energy. But I didn't really enjoy that tour. That was the Lions year, so it was more of the fringe boys, and
okay.
That was a really, really good one. But we used to just do a forward and a back, would room together until you got to like a game day, and then sometimes they'll do like 9 and 10 together, 2 centres together, the wingers together. So you mix up quite a lot, but yeah, it's always interesting. Wherever you get, it's always going to be a good laugh.
Yeah, good stories. There you go, good stuff. The most important question I haven't asked either of you before we close is, in your prime, who is the fastest out of both of you?
I'll take that all day, to be honest.
Yeah,
he's never beat me in a race, though.
Okay.
I've always beat him. I know there's 9 years difference, so we raced last time when he was about 8.
But no, they must be like, you must both have like recorded a 100-metre sprint or a 50-metre sprint.
He'd have been quicker.
Yeah.
100%.
But he actually never beat you in a race.
Never beat me though. But yeah, his times that he's hit are a lot higher than mine.
Yeah, but one day maybe we'll have a race. Who knows?
No, this day. I'll collapse after 5 years.
All right, fair enough. Guys, it's been really nice to have you on and kind of really interesting to talk to you both. Cory, all the best with all the agent stuff, and Mason, smash it, mate. Get your hands on the ball. We're all wishing you really well, mate. Thanks also to our sponsor, Dragon Bet, and our charity partners, Latch Cymru and Prostate Cymru. And thanks to you for listening at home, wherever you are. Remember, we'll be back next Monday for more Sportin Wales chat, and you can follow us on our socials. Just search Sportin Wales. Tell your friends about us and share the love, and we'll catch you next week. Wherever you go, wherever you are, enjoy your Sportin Wales week.
Sportin Wales podcast.
Supported by Dragon Bet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.